Good evening, dear students. Last class, we are all discussing about the animal tissue. How many types of animal tissue? Anyone? How many types of animal tissue? Anyone? Surya? There are 4 major groups of animal tissue. There are animals also have the 4 major groups of animal tissues. What are they? They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. There are 4 major groups of animal tissues. They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. There are plants are also have a 4 major groups of plant tissues, and animals also have 4 major groups of animal tissues. They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. Slide కనిపిస్తా ఉందా?
కనబడుతుంది మేడం.
Next. A group of similar cells working together form tissues. The group of cells is called as tissue. The group of cells is called as tissues. There are types of tissue. They are epithelial. The epithelial tissue found in skin, hair, fingernails. The epithelial tissue found in skin, hair, and fingernails. And next one is the connective tissue. The connective tissue is present in bone, blood, cartilage, bone, blood, and cartilage. Next, the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is found in brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Next, the muscle tissue. The muscle tissue is found in limbs, heart, and stomach. Limbs, heart, and stomach. Next one. We know that different organ systems work to carry and different functions. Each organ performs different functions. Each organ performs a different functions. That is the respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system, and reproductive system, and lymphatic system. Different organs perform different functions. Next, there are different kinds of tissues in animals to perform the different functions, like plant tissues. Plant tissues are also perform different functions, and sometimes some tissues cover the animal body and protect the animal body. Our body is covering with our skin. Yes or no?
Yes, madam.
It is the protecting layer of our body. It is the outermost and protective layer that is called as dermis. That is called as dermis. Next.
Hello, my dear.
Let us do an activity. Identification of tissue in some collected sample, we required material like microscope, slide, dilute HCl, forceps, brush, and cover slip. Let us do an activity to collect the small piece of chicken with the bone, and the chicken piece is put in the dilute HCl. The piece is put in the dilute HCl and place the material with the help of forceps or brush. Next, then keep the material on the slide and cover it with a cover slip. We can observe the chicken piece. We have looking. This is the epithelial tissue. This is the epithelial tissue. We observe the epithelial tissue under the microscope. Next one. First of all, we take sterilized syringe needle and collect the blood sample. Collect the blood sample. Fingertip by pricking the needle, and take a slide on the finger and the slide to collect one drop of blood, and put another slide, it gently press. Put another slide, it gently press and observe it under the microscope. We can observe the blood with the help of microscope. We can see some structures that is called as blood cells. That is called as blood cells. That is the monocytes, lymphocytes, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, macrophages, erythrocytes, and blood platelets. These are all the blood cells are present in our blood. Okay. Next, our blood contains plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets. We are all know about the plasma. It is very watery liquid fluid. It contains calcium, salts, and carbon dioxide. It is present in our blood. The plasma is a watery fluid. It contains calcium, salts, and carbon dioxide. And we are know red blood cells. Red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. Red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. It is carry oxygen lungs to our body cells. It carry the oxygen from our lungs to our body parts. Next one, white blood cells. The white blood cells are also called as leukocytes. The white blood cells are also called as leukocytes. It is the fight infection and disease. It is the what is the function of white blood cells? To fight the infection and diseases. To fight the infection and diseases. Next one, last one is the blood platelets. It is also present in our blood. Blood platelet. What is the function of blood platelets? It produces clots when blood is damaged. When we have injured, the blood is released and the blood is clotted by the blood platelets. Blood platelets. Next. Next, another activity. First, we take a piece of muzzle of chicken and put in the dilute HCl or vinegar. Take a piece of muzzle of chicken and put it in the HCl, diluted HCl or vinegar, and leave it for 4 to 5 for 2 hours. Leave it for 2 hours, and next morning to collect the piece of muzzle. Next morning to collect the piece of muzzle on a slide with the help of forceps. With the help of forceps. And the slide, the chicken is press gently with the another slide. First, we take one slide and collect the piece of muzzle and put it in the slide with the help of brush or forceps and press gently with another slide. Press gently with another slide. Put a few drops of water and place a cover slip. Put a drop of water and place it in the cover slip. Next, observe under the microscope. What we have observed in the microscope? We have observed in the microscope, that is the muscle tissue. That is the muscle tissue. This is the muscle tissue present in animals. This is the muscle tissue present in animals. Next, next one is there are four, we are all know there are 4 major groups of animal tissues are present. So many times we told. Okay, first one is the outermost covering tissue. This is the outermost covering tissue. That is the covering and protective tissue. Inside and outside the animal body, it is called as epithelial tissue. The covering or protecting tissue, it is the covering tissue or protecting tissue inside or outside the animal body. Inside and outside the animal body, it is called as epithelial tissue. And where is it found? Where is it present? Epithelial tissue. Anyone?
Skin, hair,
Skin, hair, and
fingernails.
fingernails. Very good. Hair, skin, and fingernails.
Nails.
It is the outermost covering layer of the animal body. Next one. Next one is the connective tissue. Where is it present, ma'am?
Bone, blood,
Bone, blood, and
cartilage.
cartilage. Bone, blood, and cartilage.
Cartilage.
It is loosely spaced tissue. The tissue is packed with loose cells. A loosely spaced tissue, it is mainly carrying different materials to different body parts. To different parts of the body, as well as it is rendering. Sir. Sir, disturbance గా ఉంది తులసి సార్.
ఏ బాబు మీరు మీ పక్కన సౌండ్ అంతా మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టుకోమని చెప్పాం కదా. చెప్పండి మేడం.
It is as well as it is rendering support to the connective tissue. The connective tissue is It is very loosely spaced tissue. It is mainly carrying different materials to different parts of the animal body. To different parts of the animal body, as well as it gives support to the connective tissue. It is the connective tissue. The connective tissue is loosely spaced tissue. It is carrying different materials and different parts of the animal body. Okay. Next one is muscle tissue. Where is it present, ma? Where is it present?
Limbs, ears, stomach,
Limbs,
ears,
ears.
stomach,
Next. The muscle tissue is responsible for the movements in our body is known as muscular tissue. The connection between the bone and muscles. The connection between the bone and muscles. The tissue, it is responsible for the, it is helpful for the movement of animal body. Movement of our body. It is known as muscular tissue. It is known as muscular tissue. This is the muscular tissue. It is present in, where is it present, ma? The muscular tissue is present in Bhavit. Bhavit. Surya.
బాబు అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకొని చెప్పండి. వీటిలో ఎవరిది అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకొని చెప్పండి. భవిత్ అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకో.
Where is it present, Bhavit? The muscular tissue is found in heart, lungs, and stomach.
ears,
Next, last one is the nervous tissue. Where is it present?
Brain, spinal cord,
spinal cord,
nerve,
Spinal cord
nerve,
and nerves.
nerve,
It is
nerve.
the nervous tissue is specialized tissue. It responds to the internal and external stimuli. Then transport the information. The nervous tissue is, it is a specialized tissue. It helps to internal, it responds to internal and external impulses. External impulses, that is the nervous tissue. First one is the epithelial tissue. The epithelial tissue is outermost covering tissue and outside the animal body. Next one is the connective tissue. It is the loosely packed cells and it is carrying different materials to different parts of the animal body, and it gives rendering support to the connective tissue. Next, third one is the muscle tissue. That muscle tissue is responsible for the movements of animal body, the connection between the bones and muscles. Next, last one is the nervous tissue. The nervous tissue is present in brain, spinal cord and nerves. It is the specialized tissue. It responds to internal and external stimuli. That is the nervous tissue. Next, Next one is the epithelial tissue. What is the function of epithelial tissue? Covers the internal and external surfaces of the body. Our body is covering with skin, and also the animal body. The animal body covers internal and external surfaces of the body. That is the epithelial tissue. It is the most covering layer of the animal body. It is the most protecting layer of the animal body. Next, there are 4 types of epithelial tissue. That is the squamous epithelial tissue and cuboidal epithelial tissue and columnar epithelial tissue, and last one is transitional epithelial tissue. There are 4 types of epithelial tissue are present in animal body. Number 1 is squamous epithelial tissue. Number 2 is cuboidal epithelial tissue. And number 3 is columnar epithelial tissue. And number 4 is transitional epithelial tissue. And the layers of the epithelial tissue is simple or stratified. The layers of the epithelial tissue is simple or stratified layers. And next one is muscle tissue. What are the types of muscle tissue? The muscle tissue is 3 types. Number 1 is skeletal muscle, and number 2 is cardiac muscle. The cardiac muscle is present in heart. The cardiac muscle is, that's Tulasi sir. Tulasi sir.
మేడం చెప్పండి మేడం.
అదేందో పక్కన చాలా
బాబు
డిస్టర్బెన్స్.
సోము కే సోము మ్యూట్ చేసుకో. మీ పక్కన సౌండ్ వచ్చేటప్పుడు మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టుకోండి. మేడం అడిగేటప్పుడే అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకుని సమాధానం చెప్పండి. ఓకేనా? మేడం అడిగేటప్పుడే ఆన్సర్ చేయండి. అందరూ మీ ఫోన్లు మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టుకోండి. చెప్పండి మేడం.
Next is the muscle tissue. What are the types of muscle tissue? The muscle tissue is 3 types. Number 1, skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle. The cardiac muscle is present in heart. And smooth muscle. First, the skeletal muscle. The skeletal muscle is present in our body. They have some striations. They have some striations. That means this is the striations of the muscle and skeletal tissue. The skeletal tissue, they have some striations and some elongated cells. The skeletal tissue have multinucleated cells. 2 or more nucleus. 2 or more nucleus, that is having 2 or more nucleus, and it is voluntary. That means it controls our body. The muscle tissue, the skeletal muscle is controls our body. That is the voluntary muscle. Next one is the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is present in heart. These are also have striations. These are also have the cardiac muscle also have striations, and it is branched cells. This is the branched cells. and 1 to 3 nuclei. 1 to 3 nuclei, central nuclei, and it is involuntary. We do not have our control. Next, smooth muscle.
బాబు కేటీనే చెప్పండి మేడం.
Smooth muscle.
బాబు కేటీనే నేను మ్యూట్ లో పెడుతున్నాను కదా అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకుంటున్నాను. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఆన్సర్ అడిగారా?
లేదు సార్.
పక్కన సౌండ్ వస్తా ఉంది కదా, చూసుకోవాలి కదా.
The smooth muscle
okay, sir.
it is non-striated. It is present in stomach. It is non-striated muscle. This is having single nucleus. This is having single nucleus. It is also involuntary. Do not control our body. Do not control our body. Next, muscular tissue. It is an organ. It is composed of 3 types of muscle tissues. They are skeletal, cardiac, or smooth. It is specialized to contraction of, to produce voluntary or involuntary. For example, heartbeat. Voluntary is involuntary. Example is involuntary movement is example is heartbeat. It is the specialized tissue to contraction to produce the involuntary or voluntary movement. To produce the voluntary or involuntary movement. Next one is epithelial tissue. We know detailed account of epithelial tissue. That means epi means it is the outer. Epi means outer. Thelium means tissue. Thelium means tissue. And it is present in the skin, lining of mouth, and lining of blood vessels, and lung alveolus. It is the alveolus is the structural and functional unit of lungs. Alveolus is the structural and functional unit of lungs. And kidney tubules. The kidney tubules also covering the epithelial tissue. Epi means outer and thelium means tissue. The epithelial tissue is present in skin and it is present in lining of mouth. It is present in lining of mouth and lining of blood vessels and lining of alveoli. The alveoli is this is the alveoli. The alveoli is the structural and functional unit of lungs. And it is present in kidney tubules. What is the structural and functional unit of kidney? What is the structural and functional unit of kidney? Anyone? The structural and functional unit of kidney is nephrons. This is the nephron. The kidney tubules are also covering with epithelial tissue. Next. The epithelial tissue, extremely, it is very thin and it is very flat. The epithelial tissue is very thin and it is very flat. It is very delicate and it is very smooth and it is very sensitive. It is the delicate lining of the epithelial tissue. Next, it is called as squamous epithelium. It is called as squamous epithelium. The epithelial tissue it is very thin and it is very flat. Form a small delicate lining. That is, the delicate lining is called as squamous epithelium. And it is seen in esophagus and lung alveoli, and where a transport of substances selectively occur through membrane, that is the plasma membrane. That is the plasma membrane are also called as selectively permeable membrane. The squamous epithelium is seen in esophagus, lung alveoli, and where it is transportation of substances selectively occurs to the membrane. That is the squamous epithelium. This is the squamous epithelial tissue. It is present in esophagus and lungs alveoli. And next one is stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium.
Madam,
Sir.
remain 5 minutes, madam.
Okay, sir. Next, the epithelial cells in skin, it is arranged in the form of layers. The cells of the epithelial tissue, it is arranged in the form of layers. That means one by one layer. This is called as stratified squamous epithelium. It is called as stratified squamous epithelium. Next one is, this is also stratified squamous epithelium tissue. It is very flatter and it is squamous as they move progressively toward the surface of the animal body. And it is found in skin, mouth, esophagus, anal canal, and vagina. It is found in skin, mouth, esophagus, anal canal, and vagina. The stratified squamous epithelium is the present found in these parts. And next one, these are the cuboidal epithelial tissue. This is the cuboidal epithelial tissue. The cells which is form of the lining of the organs. Lining of the organs and lining of the tubules and other parts, and provides mainly mechanical support of the organ or tubule or other parts. It is the cuboidal tissue, epithelial tissue. It is the form of lining of organs. That means lungs, pancreas, livers. These are the organs. The organs are forming a lining of layer. That is the cuboidal epithelial tissue. This is the cuboidal epithelial tissue. Next. Sometimes a portion of the epithelial tissue, the cells or folds inward and formed a multicellular gland. Thus, the portion of the epithelial tissue, the cells, the epithelial cells folds inwards the form a multicellular gland. That's why it is called as glandular epithelium. It inwards to form the multicellular gland. Hence, it is called as glandular epithelium. It is called as glandular epithelium. And next one is the columnar epithelium. This is the columnar epithelium. The layer of the columnar epithelium is, it is single layer. It forms a single layer. It forms a single layer. The cells of the columnar epithelium, it is very tall cells. That means usually involved in the active secretion or absorption across the cell layer. It is present in microvilli. The columnar epithelium is present in microvilli. The microvilli is present in, where is it present, ma? The microvilli is present in small intestine. The microvilli is absorb the food material and transported to the all parts of the animal body.